adding an API to the Anypoint Exchange. Now that we've got an API design in RAML and a portal for our users to see, let's look at putting it on Anypoint Exchange. Anypoint Exchange is a library of connectors, templates, example RAMLs, WSDLs, and much more. What else does it contain? Well, MuleSoft provides public resources in the Exchange. And you can work with MuleSoft, for example, in the case of connectors, where we have a certification program that can get your particular connector added to the Exchange. Private resources that you'd like to add can actually be put in your organization's private exchange. So you can build in your own grouping of resources and components for discovery of your developers. So how do you get to the Exchange? Well, there's a couple ways. One way is from Anypoint Studio. And inside of Anypoint Studio, you'll see in a later module how we access it. You can also get to it from Anypoint Platform when you're logged in. And you can get to the public exchange by going to mulesoft.com/exchange and seeing all the artifacts and templates that are available. Now, the Exchange UI is going to provide you a couple options to filter through what you need. On the left side, you'll be able to show different content that is published, waiting approval, in progress. You can use the scope menu to select only your private content if you want to filter out all the public content that MuleSoft has. And you can use, again, the status menu to view content that might just be working its way through the approval process. As you'll see soon, you can add items to the Exchange and then have Exchange administrators approve those later down the road. So let's add our API to the Exchange. We'll give ourselves permission to ensure we can publish items to the Exchange. We'll add a new RAML API to the private Exchange, submit that item for approval, and then finally approve and publish an item to the private Exchange. Let's get started. If you haven't already, make sure you're in Anypoint Platform, the main page. We first want to make sure you're going to have access to the items we need to do in Exchange. So we'll go to the main menu and head to the Access Management section of Exchange. Once inside of Access Management, we're going to make some slight modifications, or at least verify that the rights are correct. In order to do this, let's go ahead and click Roles. Once inside of Roles, let's go to Exchange Administrators. Within Exchange Administrators, if your user is not already set as an Exchange Administrator, let's make sure that it is. We'll go in here, and in this case, I'll even just remove myself to show this. I'll put in Max the Mule. And once I've got Max selected, I'll hit Add. Now Max the Mule is part of the Exchange Administrator's role, and Max should be able to access all of the different things we need in Exchange. So now let's head over to Exchange. If we go to the top left, click on Exchange. This is one way into our Exchange, both to see public items and private ones. We can browse through, see that MuleSoft has provided a lot of examples and connectors throughout here. Let's add in our own item into the Exchange. To do this, we'll go to Add Item, and the item that we will add will be a RAML. For the item name, we want this to be our American Flights API, so we'll go ahead and type in American Flights RAML. And on top of this, let's put in some information about the API itself. If we scroll to the bottom, we can add a RAML version. In our case, the RAML version that we're using is 0.8, and the API version we're using is 1.0. Now we need to put in the API portal URL and RAML URL. Let's head back to our student files and get both of these URLs out. Inside of our student files, we'll grab the Your American Flights RAML URL, copy that and paste it into the RAML URL box. We'll then go in and get our API portal URL, copy that, and paste it into the API portal URL box. So when our developers discover this in Exchange, they will also have links to the portal in the RAML itself. Let's go ahead and hit Done in this box. And now that we have this in place, we can scroll up to the top. Now let's go ahead and save this new item. Once it's saved, you'll see a user interface such as this come up, American Flights API by Max the Mule, some details about it, along with some other information that we can see inside of here. Now, let's see if we can search for this API. So let's go back to list. In our result set, let's filter these out so we only see the item that is work in progress. Once we choose work in progress inside of here, we should have the ability to see our American API flights. If we click on it, we can see some information. We can also see the ability to open the portal inside of here as well. So let's take it a step further and say that we want to publish Mule United Airport. So we'll click Publish. Now that we've hit Publish, it's going to pop us back to the main search area, and we can see how there's no longer anything inside of here. Let's go back to All. And in this case, let's filter out to just RAMLs in our search area. When we see RAMLs, we can see a bunch of different API RAMLs that are available. And specifically at the top, we can see our American Flights API RAML. Let's go ahead and open the portal. And right from here, we're back inside of our portal. Now you'll see later in this course how this can link into the development environment when we're actually writing the application, and we can use the item specified in here for other things. But that'll come a little bit later. For now, this has been a preview of the Exchange and how easy it is to add artifacts like RAMLs and APIs to the Exchange for other developers to discover.